When she came too close at the gym, I couldn't stop what happened next. The gym smells like sweat and polished metal, a sharp tang that seems to cling to everything. My heart is racing, not from the stair climber, though it's mercilessly taxing me, but from something else, something electric in the air I can't quite place. I catch a movement in the corner of my eye. She's here, alone. For the first time in 2 years, she's here without him. And I feel it before I see it, the weight of her gaze, deliberate, assessing. I keep my eyes forward, pretending the stare. Climber is my entire world, pretending I don't notice the way her hair swings slightly as she jogs toward a treadmill directly in front of me, a spot that is, by all rational metrics, entirely unnecessary. I swallow hard. My pulse is too loud in my ears. She glances down at her phone, then up, a slow, deliberate smile curving at the corners of her lips, just faint enough to make me question whether I imagined it. She positions herself on the treadmill next to mine. After a few minutes, her proximity immediate, inevitable. "Hey," she says, breathless from the treadmill but deliberate, teasing. Her voice is a soft hum, warm, coaxing, and entirely inappropriate for the situation. "I've seen you around. Thought I should finally say hi." I nod, trying to sound casual. "Yeah. Hi." Her eyes linger a second too long, scanning me, curious, sharp, playful, and then she asks the question that sets my skin on fire in an entirely wrong way. "So, why are you single?" I blink, momentarily caught off guard. Not because I don't know the answer, but because I'm suddenly aware of the intimacy in this mundane gym conversation. Not physical intimacy, but something else. Emotional, magnetic, invisible yet undeniable. I clear my throat, trying to steer away. "I guess timing hasn't worked out." She smiles, just the corners of her lips twitching, her eyes glinting with mischief. "Timing, huh? Or choice." I glance at her, suddenly noticing how she's wearing a light sheen of sweat that makes her skin glow. How her hair has fallen slightly out of its ponytail, soft strands brushing her jaw. I can't help but inhale. She smells faintly of floral, perfume, sharp over the metallic gym scent, warm, enticing. I think it's... I pause, caught in the weight of her stare. "Mostly timing." She tilts her head, playful, leaning slightly toward me as if daring me to look away. "Timing's tricky. Sometimes you think you're alone, but really, someone's been noticing you all along." I bite the inside of my cheek, heart thudding in a rhythm that feels like it belongs to her, not me. Her words shouldn't have this effect. She's with someone. And yet, standing here, the world contracting until it's just the two of us, it feels dangerously easy to forget that. I shift slightly, trying to regain control of my thoughts, my actions. "Listen, I should finish my set." I gesture vaguely to the stair climber, as if that machine is a sanctuary against temptation. She laughs softly, a sound that vibrates straight through my chest. "Of course," she says. But there's a hesitation, a pull, like she's testing boundaries, feeling the same electricity I am. "Maybe next time you can tell me more about yourself?" I nod, though my mind is already racing. Next time? She makes it sound like an invitation. But I know better. I will not cross this line. I will not entertain this. And yet, the tension, the draw, is undeniable. I finish my set with a deliberate, forced focus on numbers, on breathing, on anything but her nearness. But when I glance over, she's still there, on the treadmill, pretending to be engrossed in her workout, pretending not to notice me stealing these brief incendiary glances, and I realize she's dangerous. Not physically, not in any overt way, but emotionally, magnetically. She's like a storm gathering silently, threatening to unravel boundaries I've always prided myself on maintaining. I leave the gym that morning with my muscles sore, my heart heavy, and a single persistent thought echoing in my mind. I will. Not cross this line, but the line feels thinner than ever, and I can't shake the feeling that something electric, forbidden, is waiting for me. I can't tell if it's a warning or a temptation. Either way, it's only the beginning. The next day, I find myself back at the gym, a place that suddenly feels like a stage. My muscles ache in the familiar way, but it's the anticipation that makes my chest tight. I've barely slept, turning over the memory of yesterday's encounter, like a fragile crystal, delicate and impossible to touch without breaking. I spot her immediately. She's warming up on the rowing machines alone again, just far enough that she isn't staring. But I can feel her presence, like a quiet hum, vibrating under my skin. She notices me noticing her. I don't need words. I can sense it in the way she adjusts her hair, in the way her eyes flicker toward me before looking away. I remind myself again why this is wrong. She's with someone. I'm not a cheater. But the pull, the gravitational draw between us, is undeniable. I move to the stair climber, deliberately keeping distance, hoping to focus on the rhythm of my steps. But she changes course. She shifts to the treadmill directly in front of me, again. My pulse catches in my throat. "Good morning," she says, as casual as a breeze brushing past, though the underlying weight of her tone is anything but casual. "Morning," I reply, careful, neutral, though my hands grip the stair climber handles just a little too tightly. Minutes pass. The machines hum and creak around us, but it feels like the world has contracted, leaving only the two of us suspended in a charged bubble of air. And then she leans forward, closer than before, speaking softly but loud enough for me to hear. "So, you ever think about why people are single?" Her voice teases, light and probing, as if testing boundaries without naming them. I laugh nervously, shaking my head. "Sometimes, I guess, timing, again, life just moves." "Timing," she repeats, almost a whisper. "Or fear?" Her eyes hold mine a moment too long, and I catch the scent of her hair again, jasmine, faint but intoxicating. I'm suddenly aware of every detail. The curve of her shoulder as she leans, the soft glow of sweat on her skin, the way her breath quickens in rhythm with the treadmill. I clear my throat, trying to steer the conversation toward safety. I guess fear can play a role." She smiles, slow and knowing, like she understands more than she should. "Fear of what?" I hesitate, caught between honesty and restraint. "Of making the wrong choices, hurting someone else, or myself." Her expression softens, just for a fraction of a second, and my chest tightens. She's vulnerable, so close to me, physically and emotionally, yet completely off limits. The tension is delicious, almost unbearable. "You're careful," she says, almost a statement, almost a question. I like that. I shift uncomfortably, aware of how easily her words stir something I can't name. I can't let this go further. I need distance. But the pull of her eyes, the subtle tilt of her head, the teasing lilt in her voice, it's magnetic. Suddenly, the treadmill ahead of her beeps loudly, and she steps off for a moment. I seize the opportunity to stretch my legs, pretending I'm focused, pretending I'm normal. But when I glance over, she's right back, closer than before, leaning toward me with a mischievous smile. "Do you come here often?" she asks, playful, teasing. I smirk, despite myself. "Sometimes. I like to switch things up. Keep it interesting." Her eyes sparkle with amusement. "Switching things up? I get that." She leans in just enough that I can feel the warmth radiating off her, and my pulse quickens. "You know, people notice you. Everywhere you go." I swallow hard. "Is that bad? Not bad?" she says softly, letting the words hang between us. "Just interesting. You have energy. People sense it." Her compliment, casual, as it seems, lands with precision. I can't help but notice the way her gaze traces the line of my arms, my shoulders, and then flicks back to my eyes, searching for something. And in that moment, the gym, the machines, the hum of music, the harsh scent of sweat falls away. I realize how dangerous this feels, not physically, not morally, but emotionally. Every glance, every word, every subtle touch of presence is a test. And though I know I won't cross the line, the temptation is exquisite. I make an excuse to leave early, heart pounding, palms sweating. Outside, the sun is warm against my skin, but it's nothing compared to the heat that's left, me burning from the inside out. I can't stop thinking about her, the way she laughs, the way she moves, the way she makes me feel seen and alive, and yet completely off limits. And as I walk away, I catch the faintest sense of worry, maybe for him, maybe for me, maybe for both of us. That sense that this thing, whatever it is, could spiral if we're not careful. I tell myself firmly, I won't cross the line, I'll keep my distance. But my body, my mind, my pulse, they all betray me. They already belong to the tension between us, and I know, without a doubt, that this is far from over. I see her again the next morning, and the air is different. Thicker, charged. There's a softness to her movements now, a subtle grace that I didn't notice before, and my chest tightens at the sight. She's warming up on the elliptical, her hair pulled back loosely, a few strands sticking to her damp forehead, and I swear I can feel her gaze even before she looks at me. I've come early, hoping for a calm, routine workout. But calm is impossible. Now. She's an invisible magnet in the corner of my eye, tugging at my attention in a way that feels almost illicit. Almost. Hey, she says when she finally glances over, her voice lower this time, softer. Not playful, but intimate, like she's letting me into a space no one else can enter. Hey, I reply, heart thudding, trying to anchor myself. There's a pause, a charged, electric silence. We're close enough that I can see the subtle rise and fall of her chest with each breath, the way her jaw tenses just slightly, the way her eyes are bright, searching, almost vulnerable. I was thinking about yesterday, she says, almost hesitantly, her voice careful. About what we said. About timing. I stop mid-step on the stair climber, gripping the handles, listening. My pulse is in my ears. The gym fades again. There's just her and the quiet weight of something dangerous and magnetic between us. It's complicated, I say, trying to keep my tone neutral. But it's impossible. My voice carries the tension I feel, the line I refuse to cross, and maybe the temptation. She nods slowly, leaning slightly toward me, as if drawn by the same invisible force. I know. I don't want to cause trouble. Good, I say softly, my own words carrying more than I intend. Because I don't do trouble. Her laugh is soft, almost a sigh, and it vibrates through me in a way that shouldn't happen. I like that about you, she admits. And then, almost under her breath, it's rare. I glance at her, caught off guard by the vulnerability in her tone. She's not teasing, not testing. She's real. And for a moment, I forget about the gym, about the rules, about boundaries. I just see her. Why are you alone today? I ask, careful, trying to sound casual. She shrugs, but there's a tension in her shoulders. He's busy. I thought I'd get some space. Her eyes flicker to mine, and the world narrows to that brief contact. And maybe talk to someone who isn't him for a moment. My throat tightens. I know exactly what she means. I know she doesn't just mean talking, but I keep my boundaries firm. Well, I'm here, I say softly, trying to balance honesty with restraint. But that's it. She smiles faintly, a shadow of mischief, a trace of something darker and more intimate. Just talking, she repeats, almost like a promise or a warning. We step side by side to the free weights. She chooses a set nearby, close enough that the heat of her presence brushes against me, yet far enough that I can pretend nothing is happening. And then it happens. She drops a dumbbell, lightly, intentionally, I swear, near my feet. Oops, she says, looking up at me with a half smile, half challenge. Could you pick that up for me? I bend down, my fingers brushing hers. For the briefest second, electricity shooting through me in a silent, dangerous pulse. Her eyes meet mine, and I can see the spark, the unspoken acknowledgement that we both know this is wrong. And thrilling. You're careful, she whispers, leaning slightly closer, her breath brushing my ear. But I can tell. You notice, me too. I straighten, heart hammering, and for a moment the gym disappears again. I can't lie. I notice. I notice everything. The way her eyes linger, the warmth of her hand, the softness of her voice, the pull that shouldn't exist but does anyway. I do, I admit, almost reluctantly, almost painfully. But that has to be it. Nothing more. She tilts her head, just enough to capture the hint of vulnerability in my words. I know, she murmurs, soft, close. And then, almost impossibly, she leans forward just a fraction, close enough that her lips almost touch my ear. It's dangerous, isn't it? Very, I breathe, aware of the heat between us, the closeness, the nearly forbidden intimacy. Her hand brushes mine again, light, accidental, or maybe not, and I feel a jolt of something electric and alive. My chest aches, my mind races. Every fiber of me wants to lean into her, to cross the line, but I don't. I can't. I won't. I should go, I say, voice low, trembling slightly despite my efforts to sound composed. She nods, her eyes dark, sultry, a storm barely contained. Behind them. Yeah, you should. I leave the gym that day with the weight of what almost happened pressing against my chest. The memory of her breath, the spark of her hand against mine, the quiet admission of attraction. It lingers. Dangerous, tantalizing, intoxicating, and I know something else quietly but undeniably. This is no longer just curiosity. This is more than attraction. This is a connection that could unravel both of us if we let it. But I won't let it. Not yet. Not today. Yet as I step outside, feeling the sunlight on my skin, I realize something terrifying and exhilarating. Resisting her is going to be harder than I ever imagined, and I don't know how long I'll be able to. I can't stop thinking about her. Not just her, but the way she makes me feel, alive, exposed, uncomfortably raw. It's been days, and every trip to the gym is a careful dance of proximity and restraint. My workouts are measured, precise, but my mind drifts inevitably to her. This morning, she's there again, alone. I notice before she notices me, the way she moves with purpose yet hesitation, the way her eyes scan the room, lingering for the briefest second too long on me. She's on the treadmill, slow at first, but there's a rhythm now, deliberate, almost teasing. I choose the elliptical, as far as possible from her, but of course, she shifts again, a subtle movement, just close enough to make the space between us electrically charged. I can feel it before I even glance her way. A pull, magnetic, impossible to ignore. Morning, she says softly, almost shyly, as if the words themselves carry weight. Morning, I reply, and my throat is tight. We work out in silence for a few minutes, but it's the kind of silence that hums with tension. Our breaths, our movements, our glances, they are communication, a language we both understand but dare not speak aloud. Then she leans slightly toward me, just enough that I feel the heat radiating from her, a warmth that shouldn't be here, yet it is, undeniable. You know, she murmurs, voice low, careful, intimate. I think about you, more than I probably should. My chest tightens. Every rule I've lived by, every moral boundary, every line I swore I wouldn't cross, it's all at risk. In this single sentence, the confession, subtle and dangerous, is a spark threatening to ignite a fire I've refused to kindle. I think about you, too, I admit, almost a whisper, barely audible over the hum of the machines, the clatter of weights. My words tremble slightly, betraying me, betraying the careful restraint I've tried to maintain. Her lips curve, slow, almost imperceptible, and she leans just a fraction closer, brushing her arm against mine. The contact is light, almost accidental, but I feel the electricity surge, sharp and insistent. I can smell her now more clearly, the faint floral undertone of her perfume mixed with the warmth of exertion. My pulse races. My heart hammers in my chest. I shouldn't, she whispers, almost against herself, almost a confession. I shouldn't feel this way, but I do. Neither should I say, voice low, tense, full of warning and desire all at once. And yet, as I speak, I step closer, instinctively, drawn to her in a way I can't control. She looks up, and I see it. Hesitation, curiosity, longing, all wrapped in one breathtaking gaze. Her hand brushes mine again, a whisper of skin against skin, and it's enough. Enough to shatter the fragile line of restraint I've been holding on to. I step closer, so close now that the air between us vibrates with the weight of unsaid words. My voice is barely audible. We can't. Not like this. I know, she murmurs, her lips dangerously close to mine, her eyes heavy with unspoken desire. But it's hard to stop thinking about you. My hand hovers near hers, trembling slightly, torn between withdrawal and the temptation to touch, to hold, to cross a line that neither of us should cross. The world narrows. Just us, just the gym fading away. Just the raw, magnetic pull between two people who shouldn't, yet can't help feeling. Then, almost imperceptibly, she reaches for my hand. Just the fingertips, a delicate, fleeting contact, electric, intimate, enough to ignite a fire we're both pretending not to feel. My chest tightens. My breath catches. I want to stop, I say, voice rough with tension. But every time I see you, it's impossible. She leans forward, pressing closer, our foreheads nearly touching, and whispers, I know. The word carries all the weight of desire and regret, temptation and restraint. We stay like that for a long, suspended moment. The world exists only in the heat of proximity, the almost touch, the shared heartbeat racing in sync. It's exhilarating and terrifying. Every nerve alive, every boundary trembling. And then, just as I feel myself losing control, someone clears their throat. A fellow gym-goer entirely unaware of the charged, dangerous intimacy unfolding. She steps back instantly, the spell broken, the dangerous connection suspended for another day. I step away, heart pounding, palms sweaty, mind spinning. She does the same, her eyes briefly meeting mine, conveying a storm of emotion words cannot capture. Desire, regret, longing, and a quiet understanding that we've crossed an invisible line, emotionally, intimately, without ever touching inappropriately. I leave the gym. The weight of the encounter presses on me. I am exhilarated. I am terrified. I am aware, more than ever, of the dangerous allure of this connection. I know we cannot continue down this path, and yet, I ache for it, for her, for the quiet, stolen moments that feel impossible and inevitable all at once. I will resist. I must resist. But the pull is relentless, a tide I can feel pulling me toward a cliff I am powerless to avoid. And I realize, with a mixture of dread and anticipation, that the breaking point has come. The emotional line has been crossed. The tension, once simmering, is now a storm, and I am caught right in the middle. The air feels heavier than usual when I step into the gym. Morning sunlight streams through the windows, painting golden streaks across the polished floors. But I barely notice. My mind is on her, on us, and the storm that's been building for days. Every step toward the machines is deliberate, careful, measured, but my chest is tight, my pulse hammering as though it knows something today will change everything. She's already here, alone, stretching near the mats. Her posture is casual, but there's an alertness in her movements, a subtle grace that's hypnotic. When she notices me, a faint smile curves her lips, and something unspoken passes between us, a tension that's been simmering, raw and dangerous, now threatening to boil over. "Morning," she says, breathless from a few stretches, her tone low, intimate. Not teasing, not playful, something else entirely. "Morning," I reply, voice rough with anticipation. I step closer than usual, though I keep enough space to respect the line we both know exists. We fall into a rhythm, side by side, as though the world has contracted until it's just the two of us. Elliptical, weights, stretches, the gym becomes our private stage. Every glance, every movement is charged, every brush of her hair or shift of her stance a silent, dangerous invitation, and then, without warning, she stops mid-stretch and turns toward me. Her eyes are serious now, intense, yet soft with vulnerability. "I can't pretend anymore," she whispers. "I can't ignore it, not with you." My heart thunders in response. The tension that's been building, the careful restraint, the almost touches, they all erupt in a moment that is utterly electric. I can feel the pull between us, undeniable and overwhelming. I feel it too, I admit, voice low, steady, despite the heat coursing through me. But we have to be careful. We can't cross the line. She tilts her head, a slow, deliberate motion that makes my chest ache. "Maybe the line's already crossed," she says softly. Her hand hovers near mine, close but not touching, and the anticipation is suffocating. Maybe it's emotional. Maybe that's enough for now. I swallow hard, torn between the magnetic pull of desire and the awareness of the boundaries we've promised to respect. But I can't resist the silent invitation. I step closer. Her breath mingles with mine, warm and intoxicating. The space between us vibrates with all the tension we've held for days, the longing, the stolen glances, the almost confessions. "I don't want to hurt anyone," I murmur, voice low, rough with emotion. "Not you, not me, but..." My words falter as I search her eyes, trying to convey everything without crossing a line we both know exists. Her fingers brush mine, just the tips. A spark, electric, instantaneous, enough to make me shiver. Her gaze holds mine, steady, challenging, vulnerable, daring. "I don't care," she whispers, soft, intimate, as if daring me to feel the same. "I just want this, right now." And suddenly, all the restraint we've clung to evaporates, not in physicality, but in the shared understanding, the emotional intimacy that has been building like a tide. I close the space, careful, deliberate, letting her feel the weight of my presence, the intensity of my restraint mixed with the desire I can't fully voice. Her lips hover near my ear as she breathes. You feel it too, don't you? Yes, I admit, voice trembling with the admission we've both avoided. I do. I feel it. And it's terrifying. Her hand slides gently to my forearm, warm, grounding. And the connection is electric, intimate, almost, painfully slow. We're not touching inappropriately, but the emotional closeness is staggering, consuming. My heart races. My pulse roars. And yet there's trust, a delicate vulnerability we've never shared with anyone else. I've wanted this, she admits softly, eyes shimmering. But I don't want it to be wrong, not for either of us. You're not wrong, I whisper, letting her words sink in. You're real. And I feel it too, more than I expected. We stand there for a long, suspended moment, the gym around us fading into background noise. Every glance, every brush of hands, every shared breath is a confession, a resolution of the tension that's held us captive. There's desire, yes, but also understanding, respect, and a fragile, fragile trust. Finally, she takes a step back, just enough to break the tension physically, but the connection remains, electric, alive. We have to move carefully, she says softly, almost reluctantly. I know, I reply, heart pounding, but I'm glad we felt it together. She smiles, faint, beautiful, a mixture of relief, longing, and quiet satisfaction. Me too, she whispers, and I feel it. Everything we've been dancing around for days, finally acknowledged, finally real, without betraying anyone. We turn back to our workouts, side by side but aware, intimately connected in a way that's safe, restrained, and thrilling all at once. The pull hasn't gone away, and it probably never will, but we've crossed the most dangerous boundary already: emotional honesty, shared vulnerability, the unspoken acknowledgement of attraction and restraint. As I leave the gym that morning, the sunlight warm on my skin, I realize something profound. Sometimes, desire doesn't need to be acted on to feel complete. Sometimes, the tension, the connection, the acknowledgement is enough. And sometimes, respecting boundaries while feeling deeply, truly, is the most intoxicating thing of all. I walk away, heart full, pulse alive, feeling a connection that will linger long after we've left the gym behind. And for the first time in days, I'm at peace. Not with avoidance, not with temptation, but with honesty, integrity, and the extraordinary intimacy of restraint.